Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to the Celtic Way YouTube channel, X page and Facebook page as well. My name is Ryan McGinley. Tonight I'm delighted, as always, to be joined by Tony Haggerty, Haggerty10 on the X handle. My name's the Ryan McGinley on X handle as well, on that X handle, rather. Tony, how are you doing this evening before we talk about these press conferences? How are things with you? How has your day been covering all things Celtic?
Very well, very busy, Ryan. It never stops. Do we? We've said it before. We wouldn't have it any other way. But yes, we're hardworking and conscientious. I'll give us that. It's like 6:10 on a Friday night. So grateful for your company as well, ladies and gentlemen. Always appreciate it too. But yeah, it's been fairly productive. I enjoyed Brendan Rodgers today. I enjoyed Callum McGregor. So it's all Fridays are always good for that, aren't they? When you hear the manager and players speak.
Yeah, so the working title for this episode or reaction video is TCW REACT to another eye-opening press conference as Brendan Rodgers predicts 7 big days in the transfer window. I would have fit transfer window, but these videos limit you to 100 characters, so the transfer window had to be cut out of that. Before we get started, guys, if you just have a wee look at the bottom of the screen, we have recently launched our YouTube members channel. For just £2.99 a month, you can receive early video access, priority comments, and exclusive members chat function. It allows you to support us just that little bit extra on the YouTube side of things. £2.99 a month, and if you are interested, press that join button. Tony, is there anything you want to say about that before we get on and talk about the press conferences?
Oh, we got our first comment today, didn't we? We flicked it up. So
super chat, that's what they're called.
Yeah, super chat. Yeah, it's just. We just thank you, everybody who takes up our offers, and this is another offer if you want to subscribe to the exclusive members chat function and support us even more. As Ryan said, you can support the work by joining the YouTube Members Club, and as you can see there, it's you get what you get there is the early access, Ryan, isn't it? Early video access and the priority comments. Your comments will be emboldened, and we'll endeavour to put them up. And so yeah, but we have a wonderful community on here, and we hope that will interest some of you and maybe have a decent uptake on that as well. But it just helps us support us in continuing to do this, because you know it does cost to do this, and we're aware that we're asking you to fork out your hard earned, but you've supported us thus far, and a wee bit more support would be gratefully received. We very humbly accept it and appreciate it always.
Yeah, thank you to everybody that does decide to become a YouTube member, and we really do appreciate all of the help you've given us, both on the website and on the YouTube side of things. We really do appreciate everything that you do for us. This won't continue. This can't continue without the support of the people that support just that little bit extra. So thank you to everybody for doing that. Let's talk about the press conferences, shall we? And I'll take the sort of lead for this first one, because it was me that wrote the whole Callum McGregor transcription out. Thought it was quite a good one to do. 10 minutes with the captain. The captain gives good answers to those who are willing to ask him the questions. And yeah, it was a good press conference, Tony. I'm sure you'll be able to read it and catch up at the end of this video. But I'll just go through some of the highlights that were made, or some of the highlights of the press conference. I was trying to think of a good way to say that there, but better off just shooting down the middle with that. So he was talking about how things were like since he retired from the Scotland national team, and he was saying that the football's going well. He's feeling in a good place. He's moving on to the next game and trying to give a good as performance as he has done. Things are moving well, and he's just continuing to build on that as a group. He was talking about that with regard to Celtic and the Scotland national team. He says it's been comfortable with the decision. He's been comfortable with that decision. There was a lot of back and forth, having chats with people that matter. I would presume that would be Steve Clarke and his family. But once he got to that decision was final. He's been fine with it, and now he's just focusing on Celtic. He was then talking about Matt O'Reilly and how he's been basically a model professional since the speculation with him going to Brighton. You know, that's still very much rumbling on in the background. But he was saying that he's always there for Matt O'Reilly if he needs to talk about things. He has spoke to him a couple of times about the speculation, but he's been brilliant. He's treated everybody with respect, as you would expect from Matt O'Reilly, to be honest with you. And yeah, that's what he was touching upon with regard to Matt O'Reilly. He was also talking about transfers, and he was saying that the fans and the players and everybody involved need to trust the guys upstairs with making sure that those transfers are brought through and are of an acceptable standard. And he was also talking about the fact that it's difficult when you're cash rich and prices get inflated. It's just all about patience, and we've got to trust the guys upstairs to make the right calls, to make the business happen that everybody wants to happen. As players, we don't get involved too much. We try and train as hard as we can. When we come to the pitch, we try to give the supporters what they want. Then he was talking about the new format of the Champions League as well, and how excited he was to go into that. He was saying that there's a real shot in the arm after that Feyenoord game with the players, because a lot of the players that were involved in that night are still at the club. So they're all feeling good about themselves after that Feyenoord game, and they can really take that into the new one. He said regardless of the new format, if it was going to be the same format or a new one, this league system that's coming into play, then he's pretty confident that Celtic can go and make a name for themselves in a good way in the Champions League. And he was talking about how he hopes that the group all sticks together for the next 12 months. Everybody, all the top players, stay at the club for the next 12 months to grow as a team and mature as a team. Tony, just on those bullet points, I know I've paraphrased quite a few things that the captain has said, but is there anything that stands out to you with what Callum McGregor said?
Obviously, the Matt O'Reilly one stands out, doesn't it? That he's there for the captain's there for the player if he needs him. But you just hear so many good things spoken about Matt O'Reilly, and he will be the consummate professional to the end. And you just feel sad that it is probably going to come to an end. But it's just nice to know that McGregor is there for him as well. That if he needs to talk to him, and Matt O'Reilly has often praised McGregor, saying he's just a wonderful captain and just a perfect role model as well. So it's nice to see that reciprocated. And the Champions League, I think everybody got excited at the Feyenoord. I know people say it was a dead rubber, but these guys hadn't been used to winning at that stage, Ryan, or hadn't registered a win in the competition. Once you do it, it makes you hungry for more. So I'm excited by that. I was always of the impression that Callum McGregor was happy with his decision to retire from Scotland. He wouldn't have taken that lightly, because he answered the call, his country's call, every time, no matter what the game was. But you can tell that he's pleased and he's clear in his own mind about the decision. He's not going to look back. He's had his time with international football, and that's it. And now his focus is on Celtic. And I think he can do what Scott Brown did and have another wee renaissance under Brendan Rodgers with his club career. And we love Callum McGregor. There's lots of superlatives that you throw in Callum McGregor's direction, and we have done over the years, but he really is an exemplary captain of the football club, and he represents the club in the way that you want, both him and Matt O'Reilly in that sense. So yeah, I mean, I'm pretty surprised to see him speak this week. I thought he would have been put up next week before the Rangers game, unless they do a double dunter and he does it again. But but listen, I think he's enjoying football at the minute under Brendan Rodgers. They've had a wonderful start to the season. I think everybody's excited about the Champions League draw, and like everything else, I think the message today was also, you've got to trust the people upstairs, Ryan, and trust the manager that there's going to be players brought in. I think the word that sprung to mind is hectic. I think this could be a hectic 8 days, 7 days, whatever way you want to frame it. 7 days to the Champions League. 6 days to the Champions League draw, 7 days to the transfer deadline, and then 8 days to the Rangers game. So whatever way you want to frame that, it's purely up to you. But yeah, I still think the manager, Callum McGregor, he speaks very impressively whenever he's put in front of the cameras and the microphone, and he, as I say, he just represents your club the way you want a captain to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. So many mentions of 7 days. It's almost like a Craig David concert. Almost. How many times you're gonna say it? But as the main headline, it's the main takeaway I took from the press conference today. 7 big days. Time will tell. It's those 6 words, but they're big words as well. Yes, they're short in length, but they're big, and they're meaning, and the emphasis that has already been placed on what Brendan Rodgers has said. So why don't we get in and talk about Brendan Rodgers' one, because I don't know about you, when I seen that the audio clip was 29 minutes for Brendan Rodgers, I was like, oh, well, we're in for something. But thankfully, it was only 26 minutes. It was a couple of minutes recording after the audio file had ended, or after the press conference had ended. 26 minutes in total. That was the amount that was on YouTube as well. A good press conference again from Brendan Rodgers. I'll let you sort of take the lead on the first half of the questions. Obviously, we split it in half to do the two, or one half, and then the other half. So was there anything in the first half of the comments, the first half of the answers, that really stood out to you, Tony?
Yeah, he's I think one of the commenters is saying as well that he's totally up for progressing Celtic. It's all about ambition now, Ryan, and he's been steadfast in his approach to this. He's told everybody that Celtic will be better by the end of this window, and he was talking about somebody was saying about the timings as well at one point. Do you have enough time? And he said, well, time will tell, but there's a lot of work going on. It's not as if there's nothing happening, but he keeps making the point that in order to improve in Europe, he knows what's required and he knows what's needed, and he wants to get those players in. And again, just that warning shot over the bow to the board that he wants players, and I thought he did a masterful job today of, he kept his head, Ryan. It's that old Rudyard Kipling statement, isn't it? And keep your head when all around you are losing theirs. Everybody was losing their head about the likes of Kyogo. He dismissed it as gossip and speculation. I've got more to do with my time than address gossip and speculation, he said. And what did he say about Kyogo? He's back in the team for Sunday. That's my focus. This is a man driven by what he wants to achieve at this football club, both domestically and in Europe. And he said himself that domestic success wasn't enough. He craved more. I love that, Ryan. I absolutely love that this is a club he wants to be at. He also said as well. So there's nobody more driven and more passionate about succeeding at this football club than the manager. And I thought he was tremendous again today. The last couple have been box office, as I wrote about the other day. Box office, Brendan's back, and he just doesn't hold back. And when it's 26 minutes, you're getting some gold in there. And I thought he was excellent. His ambitions for Celtic in Europe is just the one that always drives me, because it's the one that always drives the fans as well. He says he's a representative of the fans. He gets it. He totally gets where they're coming from. He wants what they want too. So he was just sort of spelling it out. Call it whatever you want. 6 days, 7 days, 8 days. It's got to be hectic in the transfer window, hasn't it? And it's got to be. You've got to keep a hold of somebody like Kyogo. I think we're all of kind of the acceptance that Matt O'Reilly is going to go. We're preparing ourselves for that, but we also hope that there could be more. I was quite positive and quite hopeful that there are going to be incomings, Ryan. He wouldn't put a number on it. He's always loath to put a number on it, but you could well get 2 or 3 in by the end of next week.
Yeah, we've got so much stuff that we could touch upon. That's the beauty of having a 26-minute press conference, and there was some nuggets of gold in there. That aforementioned comment that we were talking about, time will tell. We have a big 7 days ahead of us. I'm confident we can do that. Sometimes it's waiting for the right player we might have seen, and then he's gone, or he might have decided to go somewhere else. It's okay. Sometimes that does take a bit of time. We will see come the end of the window where we're at. I've always been confident we can improve the squad by then. It was then asked, is anything imminent? Nothing at this moment, no. So I'm hoping that there is things happening in the background, but at the same time, the fact that you're not hearing about anything imminent when, the game at the weekend, it's probably too soon for any player to come in, but you're looking at that Rangers game, you're circling that Rangers game, potentially players to maybe make an impact off the bench. That could be something that they're called upon to do. He actually used the talk of interest as like a badge of honour for these players, which is good as well. I like that, and that'll make the players feel very much at ease. They won't feel guilty about having transfer offers because they know that they're getting that, and it's part of the business. It's part of the model that the club have. So the fact that and he actually backfired on one of the not backfired, but rebuffed one of the questions quite expertly this afternoon, talking about being surprised about Man City potentially being in for Kyogo. He wasn't surprised because he knows how good a player he is. I like that from the manager. I don't know about you.
Yeah, and he also batted it back as gossip and speculation. You know, don't bother me with this kind of stuff. I'm a football manager. You know, and then he was asked if you had to speak to Kyogo about it, and he was like, what gossip and speculation? I'd be here all day, 24 hours a day, he said, if I had to speak to players about gossip and speculation. I loved that, and I loved the fact that he came in and he started with a joke, you know, i.e., God, I'd have thought I was preparing for a five-a-side game this week with all the players that were meant to be leaving the club. You know, deadpan or whatever, it's just like, you know, he's as serious as anything about the business of football. But, you know, he's just letting people know, I'm all over this. I know exactly what's happening in my football club. Nothing blindsides him. You know, he's from top to bottom, from bottom to top. He is all over everything, and he knows everything that's going on at this football club, and that's what I loved about him, Brian. He's very assertive. You know, and he's telling you that. He's like, I'm the leader here. You know, listen to me. If you follow me, you won't go far wrong. That includes players. And he's also telling the supporters as well, listen, I'm one of you guys. I'm in a privileged position. I'm working for you. Don't, just because you hear some negative stuff, don't buy into it. I'm telling you, there's lots of things happening. There's not nothing happening. So I'm taking that. I always take what he says at face value. I have no reason to disbelieve what he says. So that they have got a huge week coming up. But he also said there was a cut-off point, Ryan, for players being sold. Right? Brilliant.
Very important
Love
point.
that. Right? Very important point, right? And he said they'll not be going up to the last minute for our players because he's got a Rangers game to prepare for. And he said, I want nothing to disrupt that. So he's obviously went to the board, this happens now, or it doesn't happen at all, right? Or it happens by then. You know, we can go and try and sign other people's players if that's what we want to do. But I've got a game to prepare here for the first derby of the season. He was like, nothing's getting in that. Because he does not want to go into the international break smarting from any kind of negative result against Rangers. He is going full tilt to beat Rangers. And in the way they're playing, you're quite confident that will happen. But you still got to play this football match, and he doesn't want any kind of disruption in the preparation. But it is, obviously, there's going to be some kind of, toing and froing in terms of the transfer window because it ends on Friday and the game's on Sunday. So he's accepting that. But he is turning around and saying, listen, cut-off point for my players leaving this building is X. They'll be dealing with it after that. We won't be dealing with it because I've got the most important football match of the season to prepare for so far. And I love that. And I love the fact that, since last week, you're in no doubt as to who's calling the shots at Celtic at this minute in time and who's shown example of great leadership, and it's the manager. I've always said he's the biggest asset that we have. That's for a reason, Ryan. I say this now. I'll keep saying it. That's what your elite level manager is all about.
It's very true. A couple of wee highlights before I probably go on to the best comment of the press conference, in my opinion, anyway. Talk about Gustav Lagerbielke. We know recently in the past hour or so, Lecce came in with an offer of a loan with an option to buy for the Swedish defender. So that could be something that makes waves in the next couple of days or so. Brendan Rodgers was talking about how much he valued Lagerbielke, not so much as a player, but as a teammate, and how well he's been training over the past few months, because he's not in Brendan Rodgers' plans. He did say that explicitly. Lagerbielke isn't in my playing plans, but he's been a consummate professional. It's been quite frustrating for the player. Similarly, he's been talking about Mikey Johnson, basically saying that he probably needs to go out and get more game time, but we'll see what happens in the next couple of days or so. So it was good to get a bit of an update on them. With Maeda, there was talk about potentially bringing in a third striker, but it seems that those plans have been shelved due to the fact that they wanted that to be someone from within the team. But because Rocco Vata's left the club now, and he was sort of he was sort of not scouted, but selected as being that third choice option. Now it looks as if Dyson Maeda will be that option because it's difficult to keep Hugo and Ida, who are both first choice strikers, happy. So even having Maeda in that position, that he can maybe move from the left to up front. And he also said that he does play up front for Celtic, just out on the side. So he's like a left forward rather than a left winger. And I would probably subscribe to that notion as well. But I just want to bring up that comment that I was talking about. So somebody asked him, how do you balance your ambition with frustration if you miss out on players? And I think it's important to read the answer, but it's also just as important to listen to the way that he said the answer as well, because I thought it was quite a good way of saying it. He says, I've been here before, and then there was a bit of a delay with what he said next. I can manage it better now. And he's clearly alluding to his first spell as Celtic manager, which is good, and it shows growth in himself as well. He said he was still growing at the age of 52 mentally and growing as a person. That doesn't mean it makes me any less ambitious. This is the club that I want to be at, and I want to do the very best because I represent the supporters to drive the team and move forward. Every coach and manager will have a moment in the window where they're frustrated because you want to get the players in so you can work with them and give them time, and you can't get them. I believe the culture is to coach players to be better and improve. The quicker we can get them in, then the quicker the improvements take place. Unfortunately, we're not in total control of it. You're always reliant on the other clubs as well. Sometimes you have to have that patience. It's very difficult for supporters, and it's so hard because there's so much you read and hear. As a Celtic supporter, you may look at the team and go, wow, they're playing so well, and we can add and if we can add the few that can really elevate that, then it can be a really exciting season. That is my intention here as well. It can be frustrating, but experience tells you that you have to be patient and wait and judge it when the market closes. I thought that was a great answer, Tony. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, that was the crux of it all, wasn't it? He's telling you he's evolved. Every great football manager evolves. He has evolved. This is something that led to him leaving the first time, wasn't it? Not being backed in the transfer market, and it kind of brought about his downfall. But he's kind of, I told you before, sometimes he's cryptic, sometimes he's a wee bit more open and honest with his answers. But he was telling you, I'm more equipped to deal with that now. He keeps telling you about his squad of players that he has, that he's very happy with them, but he still wants more. That's for your and I benefit. That's the message he's saying to the board. In order for us to succeed at the level that I want, I still need more. I know what's needed. Up to you to, give me what I require. They now have the countdowns on to the August the 30th transfer deadline, and it's up to them to supply the manager with what he wants. But he's not unhappy with the squad he's got, but he wants more, and he's telling them that. And if you want to have the kind of season that the manager's envisaging for supporters like myself and everybody else out there, then listen to him. No, give him what he wants. We've said this constantly. Then arm him to the teeth, to the best of our ability, to the best of our financial constraints allows us, and see what happens. You'd be very surprised. And if he gets 2 or 3 of the players that he wants before August the 30th, I think everybody will be really, really happy, Ryan. We've always said, he said as well, judges at the end of the window. I think you have to reserve judgment, but again, and I've been consistent with this message as well, at this moment in time, we only have the manager's words to go on. It's what we're clinging on to, and it's what we're hoping comes to fruition, that in these next 7-8 days, call it what you like, the purse strings are released a bit, and he gets at least 2 or 3 players that he wants in. And and then he'll turn around and say, fine. And that might be offset by the fact that Matt O'Reilly's leaving.
Yeah. Is there anything else that you want to discuss about the press conference? There was talk about potential league reconstruction that Brendan Rodgers would quite like to see with the young players coming through. And that report that came out the other day and he was talking about how the league is too small and there's always pressure regardless of where you are in the top 6 or the bottom 6. Is there anything else that you want to discuss about the press conference today?
I think we've covered it all mainly there. I mean, it's up on the website, isn't it? The video's there as well. I will be putting something on it on the site from 10:30. You can read that from 10:30 onwards. Before we go, I will say thank you to Jackie Dillon for becoming a YouTube member. We really appreciate that. And also Alistair Jack who's also a new member. Thank you very much. As you see along the bottom, guys, you'll see them highlighted in green. They have paid $2.99 to become part of the exclusive members chat function, where you get exclusivity and early previews on the videos. And if you join our new YouTube members channel, there it's there too. For an extra £2.99 a month, you'll get early videos, access and priority in the comments, and the exclusive membership chat function, which is what they've decided to subscribe to. So thank you. And thank you, Graham Caldwell. I appreciate that. We will see you on Sunday. We're officially in Paisley on Sunday. We got that confirmed today, Graham. So please come up and say hello and introduce yourself. Love to have a chat with you. But thank you to Alistair, and thank you to everyone else who has so far taken us up on the Jackie Dillon as well for the YouTube members chat and membership. We appreciate that.
Yeah, we do appreciate. We appreciate the two of you subscribing. Hopefully there's a few more that subscribe as well, and you'll get all the benefits. As I said at the start of this video, support our work by joining our YouTube members channel for just £2.99 per month. You'll receive early video access, priority comments, and exclusive members chat function. If you want to join that extended community and support us just that little bit further, then please subscribe or join the YouTube members channel. Join, subscribe, you know what to do. Thank you very much, guys. That's my dog going there, and now your dog could probably go as well. This is the way these things work. Thank you very much, guys. We will have stuff all over the weekend. We'll have Tony's piece at 10:30 tonight. I've predicted lineups at around about 12 o'clock tomorrow. We'll also have the latest episode of the Grand Old Team podcast, where Tony Haggerty and Kevin McKenna talk about some of the best players to have played against Celtic in years gone by.
You might enjoy that because, you know, that, as I say, it's myself and Kevin's players, but you guys might throw up other ones as well. And, you know, it's all very subjective, isn't it? Depending on how old you are and what kind of teams you're. But, yeah, you'll enjoy it. It's always great talkers, those kind of things, right? And I'll ask you before you go, who's some of the best players that you've seen playing against Celtic, or have I just thrown you right on the spot there?
No, there are two or three that immediately spring to mind. Adrian Rabiot's one of them for PSG. I thought he was absolutely class on grass, to be honest. Edison Cavani was good as well. Radamel Falcao was good. Kaká, Kevin Campbell, that played for Red Bull Salzburg at one point, that moved to Borussia Dortmund, then he came back for RB Leipzig. Messi as well. Messi, Xavi, Iniesta. I could name a who's who of all time, but recently.
Strintzel, who played for Borussia Mönchengladbach as well, was excellent the night they beat us 2-0. I didn't mention it. He was in my head and I forgot to mention him on the actual podcast. But, you know, just, and then going back, there's lots of people going back from the 1995 PSG team that played Celtic and destroyed them. There was Rai, the Brazilian Rai, and Patrice Loco, and other players like that played. And Yuri Djorkaeff, in fact, played that night as well. So, you know, if you're of a certain vintage, you don't have to be of a certain vintage, but if you are of a certain vintage, I hope you're enjoying these grand old teams. We enjoy doing them. So, episode 4's out Saturday, I think, Ryan, is that right? Saturday
at 12, I think, as well. So there'll be a double done there. You'll get the predicted lineups and the Grand Old Team podcast, which will be available on a premiere, so you can join in on the live chat, pre-recorded, of course, but live chat, just for a modern update on greatest players. Antoine Griezmann is right up there for Atletico Madrid. I would say both home and away, an absolute class act, both on and off the park, I would say as well. But yeah, thank you very much, guys, for tuning in. We'll be back live on Sunday morning at the Smizer Stadium in Paisley to preview Celtic versus St Mirren. Until then, guys, have a very good weekend, and we will see you all on Sunday morning. Cheers, guys.